Well, hello, and welcome to episode 270 of Drink the Movies. I'm Brian here, as always, with Michaela, and we are coming through your video screens right now. Potentially, if you're listening to us on Spotify or on YouTube, you get to see our smiling faces. That'll be good. That'll be good because today we are talking about none other than the Mandalorian and Grogu. Michaela, let's talk about Mandalorian and Grogu from like the before times, right? Like so, Disney. Obviously buys Star Wars. They get into like the Disney Plus of it all, and they start with the first Star Wars live action TV show on the Disney Plus service is The Mandalorian. Do you remember watching like The Mandalorian when it came out? Were you excited about it? Were you like, whoa, my gosh, this is crazy?
Yeah, I was really excited about it. And what I loved is it really built a mystery around who the Mandalorian was, um, because of like Boba Fett versus his son.
Mm.
And both of them were in this
Django, his
Mandalorian.
dad.
Django. Yes, sorry, his dad. You know me, I'm terrible at this. I go into a black hole when it comes
You got yeah, the
to
Star Wars black hole.
Star Wars.
Well, hey, there were clones,
But
so it's like a
they,
circle, you know.
Yeah, it was a circular thing, but they were eventually like they had this Mandalorian costume on, right? And so
Mm.
I love that you see this Mandalorian, and for the longest time, you don't see his face, you don't know what he's really doing there, you don't know his background, and so I thought that this really was a series that showed a lot more depth to the entire universe, and
Hmm.
maybe. Um, as just a casual audience member, I would say, I mean, I love Star Wars, but I don't know the lore the way that you do, and I don't know the lore the way that a lot of people did. But I thought that the Mandalorian series really brought a lot of questions out to like
Hmm.
a more broader audience. And so when this film was coming out, I was super excited to see it because who doesn't love like a baby Yoda that's not actually Yoda at all? And we don't know that it's not Yoda for a while.
That's
Or at
true.
least I think it's like Yoda's grandchild for a little while, or maybe it's his grandfather, because I can't remember
It's
the
Boba Fett's
timeline.
son, possibly.
It's
I don't
right.
know. Yeah, absolutely. It took us a while to learn that his name was Grogu, of course. And here he is. He is co-lead of this movie, The Mandalorian and Grogu. One of my favorite parts about this whole thing is that Grogu has been going to do like all of like the press tour and like the red carpet events, and like Grogu is there. So I hope we get some like behind the scenes stuff with like the puppeteers and like who's running like the animatronics of Grogu because Grogu is a pretty special little thing, and we're going to talk about that here as we get into the episode. Before we do that, though, we should probably go ahead and mix up a cocktail. Michaela, you have the cocktail right there to try once we come back. There, look at that Star Cruiser glass in hand. But let's go ahead and take a look. I made a video. You may have already seen the video because I put it up on YouTube. I could not wait to get it out because I had a lot of fun making it. So let's go ahead and take a look at that video, and then we'll talk about putting this cocktail together and drinking it, all those things. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Drink the Movies. I'm Brian, and today we're going to be making a cocktail for the Mandalorian and Grogu, specifically for Grogu. So you're going to need a couple of things. You're going to need a Grogu, because he's adorable and amazing. You're also going to need some of these Nilla Grogu Nilla Nummies. They're just to decorate the cocktail, but you know, Grogu's not going to go into battle without some Beskar and some cookies, and they're delicious. So, yeah. So go ahead and get some of those. Grab your Grogu. Let's get some ingredients, and let's make this cocktail. All right, and to get Grogu battle ready, we're going to need a few ingredients. Starting off with 3 ounces of bourbon. I'm going with Woodford Reserve. 1.5 ounces of clear creme de cacao. 1.5 ounces of freshly squeezed lemon juice. The lemon juice is important, so you would definitely want to use freshly squeezed because we're making a clarified milk punch, so we need that acid. 1 ounce of simple syrup. A few dashes of some sort of chocolate bitters. I'm using this Crude's Big Bear Coffee and Cocoa. It's going to give it some nice chocolate and a little bit of coffee notes to it. And we're also going to need 2 ounces of regular old whole milk. So what you do, basically go ahead and throw all of those ingredients into a container like so. And then you're going to add in your milk. And you will see it start to coagulate there. What that's going to do is that's going to go ahead and clarify our drink. So what we're going to do is we're going to let that sit for about a half an hour, and then we will talk about what we're going to do next. All right, Brian here. What we're going to do after that is set for about a half hour. We're going to strain it with one of these, just a little sieve. I like to do that first. It gets us a good head start on getting kind of those bigger solids out of there. And then we're going to go for the real clarifying magic. I like to use a reusable coffee filter, but you could use a paper coffee filter. You could use cheesecloth, a couple layers of that, but I like to use one of these. So we're going to strain. It's going to take about an hour out of the mesh strainer, and then probably like 6, 8, 10 hours probably to get through this. So I'm gonna go binge through the Mandalorian, like all the seasons of that, and then we'll be back and we'll talk about what we're doing next here with the cocktail. All right, so it took about 8 hours, but we finally got our cocktail clarified, running through that strainer right there. It is nice and crystal clear, which is exactly what we want because we are going to be turning this thing the color of Beskar with some silver luster dust. This one's pretty cool. I got it online and it has like 6 different colors in there. So that way you're covered for any sort of cocktail needs that you might have. But we're going Beskar today. Let's throw some silver in there and see what it looks like. All right, and just like that, our Beskar is ready to go. So let's go ahead and get this cocktail put together. All right, let's grab yourself a rocks glass with a big, nice, clear ice cube. We're going to go ahead and just pour this in there. This recipe makes enough for about 2 drinks. Let's go ahead and put that in there. We've got our Beskar. And then, of course, because Grogu doesn't go anywhere without a little snacky, we're going to float just a couple of those little cookies there on top. So that is it. That is the Beskar and Cookies for Grogu. All right, and there you have it, the Beskar and Cookies cocktail, ready for Grogu. One of my favorite scenes in the movie is when Grogu is gearing up for battle. So these are all the things that he needs to have a successful fight out there in the style of Mandalorians, right? Got some Beskar, got some cookies, and we're good to go. Cheers. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll talk to you soon. All right, so that was the cocktail there. So I got that put together. It's like it's like a 2-day long process every time I wanted to make it, and I made basically 3 batches of this because I made a test batch. I made the batch that I gave to Michaela, that Michaela is drinking right now, and then the batch that I made for the video there. So lots of cocktails to be made there with that. So yeah, run through the ingredients real quick, and then I'll let you give some feedback on it, Michaela. But it was 3 ounces of bourbon. You could also use like an aged rum, which would also be really good in this. But I think that this cocktail is really nice because the ingredients are pretty inexpensive if you're just using like a, kind of like a mid-grade bourbon that you might use for cocktails. Clear creme de cacao, which is about as cheap of a cocktail ingredient as you can get. Some chocolate bitters, lemon, and some milk, right? So it's pretty easy, pretty straightforward. And if you're new to the world of milk punches, this is a good one to do because it's not going to be like a ton of money to put into it to just try out like how to make it. And I thought that it was pretty good. So that was it. You put all that stuff in a thing, like I said in the video, strain it again, like overnight, preferably is the best way to do it. So you don't have to think about it. And then, serve and enjoy. So, Michaela, you've got it there in our Galactic Star Cruiser glass. A very late boozy night revolved around that cup right there. But how is it there with the Beskar and Cookies?
It's amazing. It's amazing. Now, anybody who's never had a milk punch, right? You're going to, you might think that it's like milky, and it is not, right? And you might have said this already in the video, but it is not milky. It is a creamy kind of mouthfeel, but it doesn't taste like milk at all. It's just luscious and velvety. And so I get like, you definitely feel, get the bourbon, but it's like, I don't know how to really explain it. It feels like this is an out of this world kind of drink because it doesn't taste quite like bourbon. It doesn't taste like lime, right? Or lemon. You're thinking that, maybe it's going to have some lemon in it because of the milk punch. It's just lovely. And because it's got that white or clear creme de cacao, it's like just a sumptuousness, but it's not chocolatey at all. I don't feel like. The coffee gives it like this just aromaticness that, again, it's not coffee. I don't know how this, I'm not real good at explaining what this tastes like, but I'll tell you, it doesn't taste like any of the things in in the ingredients, and it's amazing. And the luster dust, I really wish that you could see it. I mean, that is so cool. My cookie is kind of falling apart, but it looks like it's a shimmering universe, and which is really cool. It
Yeah, it's
reminds me of that of the little pot where all the eggs were
oh
that
yeah.
baby Grogu liked in
He-
season one.
He's chowing down all Frogly's eggs. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because the milk punch it basically pulls out like obviously it pulls out the color, but it pulls out like a lot of like the tannicness. So in like a bourbon, what
Hmm.
you're left with then you get it's a lot of like vanilla and like cinnamon note from the
Hmm.
vanilla is kind of what's left behind there. You get the nice clean like a creme de cacao is not like super chocolatey tasting to me anyway.
Right.
It's more of, of like a cacao nib kind of a thing. So you get a little bit of that. You get some chocolate there from the bitters. And you do get a little bit of lemon there, but yeah, it's nice and it's soft in the mouth. And I love like pairing it with the cookie. That's really what I was going for because I knew I wanted to incorporate these little blue Nilla wafers that I drove to more stores than I'd like to admit, trying to hunt those down. But I really wanted to incorporate that, and I thought that this would be like a really good pair for the cookies because it has, kind of those softer, chocolatey coffee vanilla notes to pair with
Hmm.
that, and a little bit of the lemon. And I don't know if you have a cookie there that's not fallen into your thing, but if you take a sip of that and then eat the cookie, it tastes like a lemon meringue pie in the mouth,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is pretty cool. So
Yeah. I had one before. I didn't want to chew in on live TV or whatever. Whatever. I thought that would be inappropriate and rude. But I will say I agree with you. I think that not only does the cookie kind of make the garnish like extra sweet, it also like it's a really beautiful pairing. So if
mhm.
you are like Baby Grogu and want a late night snack, that also has a little bit of booze in it, this is a really good choice. And I agree with you. I think this is it's like a low stakes milk punch. So if you were
Mhm.
interested in like doing it yourself, but you didn't know if you'd like it and you didn't want to spend a ton of money, and your method is actually really simple, which is nice too, because
Mhm.
there's a bunch of different ways you can do this, but that is kind of the first version that we tried, and it was, it's I think it's a good starting point for people who want to dive into milk punches.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, that's kind of what I was going for. Like I said, I wanted it to be able to like encapsulate something that I can pair with that cookie. Nice, and it has, like I
Hmm.
said, a little bit of that chocolate note. So yeah, I was pretty excited about the way this turned out. So go ahead and give that one a try if you want to play around with some milk punches, see what you think. Or if you had any good cocktails at the movie theater, potentially, or if you've been to like a Star Wars like viewing party, like getting ready, you were like binging through all the Mandalorian seasons and you're having something to go along with that, let us know that. We had some cocktails at the Regal Theater, which we'll probably talk about on Patreon. Shout out to Ian, there, our bartender who hooked us up with some good Mandalorian cocktails. We had a little Grogu with his little lime ears, and we had another one that was blue. I don't remember what that one was called right off the top of my head. So let's go ahead and talk about the movie here, Michaela. So take it away with a spoiler warning if you've got one.
Spoiler warning for Mandalorian and Grogu. We're going to talk about it, and I think they're probably, I don't know if I would call them spoilers, but we're going to talk about points in the movie that you might really just want to experience in the movie and not have us spoil that. I don't know if there's like a you gotcha, like I'm Luke, I'm your father moments, but there's definitely things we're going to talk about that I think maybe you should wait for because this is an adventure. There are lots of oohs and ah moments, and it's pretty cool. So, we're going to talk about those things. If you haven't watched it yet, make a cocktail, go watch it, come back, and we're going to chat about all things The Mandalorian and Grogu.
That's right. Yeah, if you've been following along with the Mandalorian's adventures from that day, the first day, that it was on Disney Plus there to now, you might have thought to yourself, "Man, this story just keeps getting like crazier and crazier and more wild and more wild all the time." Maybe the movie is going to take a step back from that. It does not. So yeah, so spoiler warning there if you're going to see The Mandalorian and Grogu, which I always thought to myself, to be honest, that this was a pretty goofy title, The Mandalorian and Grogu, but I have to say, watching the movie, seeing the movie, I don't know what else you would have called it because that's exactly what it is. It's The Mandalorian and Grogu, right? That is exactly what it is. This just released last week, directed by Jon Favreau, and it stars, of course, we've got Pedro Pascal there as the Mandalorian, but really awesome, really really awesome is in the credits right after Pedro Pascal. We get Brendan Wayne and Lateef Crowder there, the the other actors who are playing the role of Din Djarin throughout the film. Right there, when you see Din Djarin on screen, you're seeing either Brendan Wayne or Lateef Crowder. Very rarely are you seeing, Pedro Pascal in that outfit. So I loved that they put them front and center there in the credits. That's pretty great. Grogu is, of course, playing himself. We've got Jeremy Allen White doing the voice of Rada the Hutt, who's a pretty important character as well. And we've got Sigourney Weaver playing Ward, a new Resistance leader, aka pilot, aka Sigourney Weaver has done it all. If there's a movie franchise that you love, Sigourney Weaver has probably been in it.
Yeah, she's been in it at least, or she started in it at one point in time, for sure. And I love her character. She plays like the leader of the rebellion, or the Mandalorian's kind of contact to the rebellion. And man, she doesn't age as well. Have you noticed this? I
Yeah.
she looks exactly like she did. I mean, almost exactly like she did in Working Girl. And I don't want to scare you, but that's now 40 years ago.
That
So,
was a long time ago, yeah. But yeah, I mean, she's done Star Wars now. She's in Avatar. She's in Ghostbusters. She is, of course, Alien. The
yep.
Alien franchise right there is all because of Sigourney Weaver. So yeah, I mean, she's done it all, which is amazing. It was amazing knowing we were going to get her into Star Wars to see what she did, and I thought that her character was really pretty fun in this. We've also got Zeb coming from Rebels, voiced by Steve Bloom, who I've talked about on Drink the Video Games. There, he did a voice in The Dig way back in the day. So there you go, Steve Bloom. Let's talk about the movie here a little bit. I don't want to get like in the weeds on all this because this is a big, crazy, zany, off the wall story, but we should probably hit a couple of these plot points. And the movie opens kind of in the same way as like Return of the Jedi starts, because Return of the Jedi to me starts like a James Bond film. And that's what this opens up like. It opens up like a James Bond film. We see like the bad guy surrounded by a
Mm.
table of lesser bad guys, but got the bad guy right there. And then you just have Mandalorian, Mando, just coming in, going ham on all these guys. It's exactly what we want to see out of our fearsome Beskar armored bounty hunter.
That's right. Um, I really love this because it does feel like the beginning of uh, that film. It's hilarious to me because you got Grogu, who's still, I guess, a child, right? Like I'm trying
Yeah.
to understand as a general audience
I mean,
member, I want to
he's like
understand where we're at.
56 years old, but that's pretty young in the scheme of
Yeah,
things.
yeah, yeah. But so and he's not like a baby anymore. Like you don't see his little bassinet at all in this film, I don't believe.
No.
But he's like using the force for certain things, and but he's also causing a little bit of mischief. But the Mandalorian, man, he is like merciless. If you're in his way, you're gonna go down, and he's not even yeah, he's not even gonna look your way. And he just like tears apart this entire boardroom of people. He goes down a cliff. He takes down, I think it's an at. I'm not sure what they're called. They look like camels made out of metal that are
Yeah.
87,000 feet tall. And like one goes off the cliff and the other one goes off the. It's really it's a good fun 20 minutes. Maybe not 20 minutes. I don't know how long it is, but I feel like it puts you right into where your heart's pounding and you're really excited, but you don't really even know what the goal is and what Mando's doing at this
What he's
point. You're
trying
like, this
what
is
he's trying to do,
amazing.
yeah.
Now, is
He's
there a
supposed to
story? Was this
he
a
was
bad guy? What's
he was
going
supposed to get
on?
that guy, and he throws like a terminal detonator down the elevator shaft, which is not good for bringing someone in alive. That's not great. But yeah, I mean, I love this sequence so much. It's a lot of fun, right? We get to see him like doing all the fun like Mandalorian like battle things that he does. Of course, we get to see Grogu causing mischief, using the Force, right? He picks up the little mouse droid and makes it explode. That's pretty fun. He's looking cute. You still get the humor in there, right? Because Mando plants like 1,000 explosives inside of this giant walker, and little Grogu is like, "We should probably leave now." He's like poking him in the head, like banging on his helmet, telling him to hurry up. It's time to get out of there. So, I mean, that's really fun. That's really fun. And then we find out that he's working for the New Republic, right? That's kind of the way that the TV series left it
Mm,
off, right? He was going to be like a mercenary, like
yeah.
a for hire bounty hunter for the New Republic. So that's good. That's good. And that's what he does. He goes and he talks to Sigourney Weaver's character there and is like, "Hey, I got this guy." And she's like, "Could you stop killing these guys, please? We can talk to him. That would be great." So we have a new one for you. This one though, it's a little unconventional because we want you to go get this guy. We don't even have a picture of him. We don't know who he is. We don't know what he looks like. But good news, we're going to give you a new old ship for you.
A
Do
new,
you remember that ship? It blew up. Do you remember that?
I remember that shit. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, I do. I do
This one's
remember that.
yellow though. It has cool yellow on it.
Yeah.
It looks
The
good.
ship
Looks
looks
good.
amazing. The ship looks really good. I love too how we see like he's like, this is the most up-to-date picture we have, and it's like a toddler hut, like blob,
Oh yeah.
right? Like,
Well,
and
yeah.
he's
I mean,
snowy, he's actually kind of cute. I'm like, oh, is he still little? Or like is he now like 65 years old? It's, he has these big eyes, and you immediately know something is up. Like, because Ward tells him you need to bring him home because his aunts and uncles are desperately looking for him, and he's been kidnapped by this guy, and you need to bring the guy home. If you can, we need him alive because they're trying to get more information, and he keeps killing everybody that they send him out to bring back.
yeah. Well, yeah. So they sent him to go talk to the twins, right? They're the new Hutts, I guess, that are in charge of all the Hutt things, right? We had Jabba the Hutt. Now we have the twins who have taken over his enterprise because Jabba's son, Rhoda, the Hutt has gone missing, right? Mandalorian has to go
Hmm.
track down this Hutt. And yeah, you only get the little baby picture of it. It's the little baby because he was in like the very first Clone Wars movie. That's where he comes from. Got to hang out with Ahsoka and Anakin Skywalker there, but he's off. He's off doing some like gladiator style battling. He
Mm.
doesn't even want to hang out with his aunt and uncles. And that's like the weird like like heartfelt like part of the movie. Because hey, Jeremy Allen White is voicing Road to the Hut, and we've known that for a long time now, and we're like, that's strange because we all know Jabba the Hutt, right, from Return of the Jedi, and he
Yeah.
speaks Huttese. Why is Jeremy Allen White going to speak Huttese? What's up with that? No, Road to the Hutt is like this laid back surfer bro that just wants to like have a good time. He wants to be his own man, wants to go and do some battles, and it turns out that he's pretty good at this fighting thing, and has one a fight left on on his contract, right? So we're gonna get into some hoots with that. Wanted to stop and just kind of talk about like the world building of these places because they look
Mm.
really cool. You have Ludwig Göransson who's doing the soundtracks. He gets to whatever planet they're on that they're doing the fights. I'm terrible at planet names. Don't come for me, Star Wars people out there. But he goes to the planet where he's doing the fighting.
Shikari.
I'm Shikari, and like it's all like Blade Runner-esque looking. It looks amazing. There's like puddles like reflecting all this neon. Mandalorian looks so awesome because it's like reflecting all the stuff off of his helmet. Like I don't know how they're doing that, if they're doing that digitally, if it's like being actually like projected onto him, if it's like real actual lights that are projecting on him, like how that works. That's pretty wild there in and of itself. But Ludwig Göransson's just going nuts. Like we
Mm.
had like the weird like woodwind like recorders that he used to make the little woo woo like sound for the Mandalorian, and now it's like this whole like techno like EDM like enter the Matrix club to find the White Rabbit kind of thing going on right here. Is
Mm.
wild, wild, loved it.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I think it was very like um Blade Runner meets the Gladiator almost because Rada
Mm, mm,
is this becoming, he's becomes this unkillable thing basically in a gladiator kind of den because he owes uh that guy Janu, he owes him money, or he thought he owed him money. And
mm,
so, Rada is like, I don't care about my aunt and uncle. They actually don't like me. They don't miss me. They just want me because I am Jabba the Hutt's son. I'm nothing like my dad. I just want to be left alone. But he has this belief that when he finishes this one last battle, Janu's going to let him go. And of course, Janu's like, I'm not going to let him go. Now, what I don't understand is Janu openly tells this to the Mandalorian. He's
it's like
like,
some Game of
yeah,
Thrones stuff.
and it's like, well, what do you think he's going to do with that? Okay, so of
Well,
course,
he thought he could buy him off, right? He thought he could
right,
pay him off. He's
I,
like, here's like a truckload. He's like, here's a big piece of salt. Everyone loves salt on their food. Eat that. That'll make you happy, right? You can go take a nap then. Here's a
right.
pile of money. You can also bet on the fact that Road to the Hut is going to lose because I totally rigged the thing. So
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so Rhoda doesn't believe. the Mandalorian when he tells him, "Hey, this stinks. Like it's not going to go well for you." And it's not until like they're both basically down in the middle of the gladiator den together, where it's like, "Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I think I was right." But I do love this character. Rhoda is really interesting to me. First of all, he is like the buffest like hut I've ever seen because he's a
Yeah.
blob because he has to be because that's what they are. But he's got like arm, shoulder definition, and like lats, and like it's insane. I'm like, and you're right because the visual effects with when he and anyone else that is not obviously CGI next to him, I was shocked at how good it looked. It's looked so seamless, and I don't know what technology they're using now. If they borrowed something from James Cameron, if I don't have any
Yeah.
idea how they did it, but it was amazing. Because they had to fight together, and there are all these other creatures, and I think it's so cool that this world has just keeps expanding, and there's like inner stories and inner details um, throughout this film, and I think that's one of the things that really pays homage to like excuse me, pays homage to the the first three that were ever made, right?
Mhm.
Like they're moving forward, but they also had these really beautiful like kind of bonding moments, which it reminded me of the first time that like Luke and Han had to like work together to solve a problem where
Right. Yeah.
they don't really like each other, but they're gonna figure
They end
this
up on
out,
the
you know?
they end up on the Death Star together, right? And they have to work together
Mm-hmm.
to get this thing. Same kind of thing here. I love Rod of the Hutt because yeah, I mean he's totally wild. I love like his voice and his attitude. I think that they're really fun, but like I like his like outlook, right? And the like who your father is or your parents are doesn't like define you. He makes a lot of mentions to both Grogu and to uh, Mando that you're a good dad. I can see that you're a good dad, or he's going to be fine because you took care of him. Like all that stuff. Like I like that a lot, and I like kind of the outlook that he has then too of I want to be my own person. I don't want to be defined by Jabba. Like I'm here, like I'm earning my freedom. Like everyone, I like turned up here and started fighting, and everyone booed me because of my dad. And then eventually, all those boos turned into cheers because, they fell in love with me. Like I really like that sentiment. And then of
Mm-hmm.
course I like that he's like, can I feed your little guy? And he's like tossing him like little like fish or little like Swedish fish, little Swedish gummy
Yeah.
worms or whatever he's tossing to him, which is pretty funny. On like Disney or on Star Wars Kids on the YouTube thing, they've been putting out a bunch of videos, obviously, but there was one about like a day of like Grogu, and it's basically just like him doing something and then eating a snack like every other hour for like an entire day. When that's what he does in this whole movie. He eats snacks the whole time. So yeah, they're in the arena, they battle, they do that. They have like the crazy like car chase like outside, which
Mm.
is pretty wild. And then Zeb ends up flying down and catching him, and they take Rhoda the Hut away. They're going to take him back to the twins, right, to his aunt and uncle, and that's bad news. Rhoda's like, they're totally going to like kill and or torture me. Spoiler warning, because that is exactly what they do later in the film. But Mando's like, no, I made this deal. I got to do it, right? I got to take you in. And he's like, I know who that coin guy is that you want. It's the guy that you were just talking to like 10 minutes ago. Mando's like, oops, my bad, my bad. They go into like his compound. You get like that amazing little thing from the trailer of like, of Mando and Grogu, like looking through the little like binocular, like over the
Mm-hmm.
ridge. I love all the like little like teaching moments of Grogu.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the neat things we get like in the movie, right? Because he's a little baby, right? He's like 50 years old, but he's like a little baby and he's in his little pram. And then he goes and he starts waddling about a little bit, and then he goes and he does like Jedi training, and then he decides to go back with Mando. So Mando is like using like this film really to like teach Grogu like how to be a Mandalorian, and we see like that growth of this weird little puppet like through the course of the
Yeah.
movie, which I think is pretty wild. But you'll see him do that. They eventually catch coin. They take him, and meanwhile, Sigourney Weaver is like, oh, "That was a terrible idea. You just crossed the huts. That was bad news. Why would you do that?" And it turns out that you should do it because the huts are terrible. But they do that. So bounty gets put out on Din Djarin's head. It gets captured by Embo, the bounty hunter. What do you think about Embo, Michaela? He's
Um,
pretty sleek, pretty dark. Has a scary wolf dog friend.
he is a scary wolf dog. I don't know. I liked him. I thought, I mean, for as far as like baddies go, in uh it was nice that it wasn't yet another like Sith Lord, just from like
Mm.
a
There's something
again
different. There's something
from a
different. Yeah.
novice audience member, right? It was kind of neat to be like, oh, that's cool. I don't, it's not the same kind of idea, but also like it was somebody that could match because he was a bounty hunter.
Hmm.
We thought that Embo could really match Jaren's like skill set, and so it seemed like maybe he's met his match, which is why it's super sad when we think that he's not going to make it. And everyone's like, "Oh no!" But yeah, I really liked that dynamic. Um, it also is super cool. He doesn't speak Embo. Like I don't remember hearing him say anything, which kind of reminds me of the Terminator. It really freaks me out. He can't
Hmm.
be reasoned with, and he'll never stop. And yeah, yeah,
He just keeps
not
going.
yeah.
I like I like Mando, puts Grogu and the little Anzellans like underneath the floorboards so they can like escape. He gives them like the sign to like run. I will say that Din Djarin does not have that good of perimeter defenses for a bounty hunter. Possibly, maybe thought he's like I'm in like Navarro land. It's a good time here. I don't need to be that cautious. But yeah, it turns out you should be if you cross the huts. So he ends up getting taken to the huts. They take his helmet off, so we finally see Pedro Pascal there, and he drops into a pit to get eaten by a snake. That's sad. That's sad. Um, but then it switches like kind of like the point of view for the story, right? We go from being a story about the Mandalorian to being the story about and Grogu, which is how you get the title, The Mandalorian and Grogu, because he's got to take over. Like he's has like his own like agency. Now we've started to see a little bit, like some glimpses of it, going into the story. But now he's like, all right, my Anzel and buds who are afraid of me because I might be like a mean like bully kid because I can use the Force and steal everyone's snacks. Maybe that's why they're afraid of him. I don't know. But they're like, gotta go get my dad. They're like, all right. So they like head into town. They get on their fun little like tiny like spaceship,
Mm.
which is I don't know like 6 feet long. It's pretty amazing, pretty amazing. You get to go there. You get like the amazing scene of like Grogu like gearing up, going to battle. And I love like to see him like putting like his little like gauntlet on. I think he puts like a little thermal detonator in his pocket. I think he grabs like the cookies, and then he has like his little Mandalorian like chest plate thing, which now he's wearing on
Mm.
the outside of his thing. He'd never worn it on the outside before, so it was like him like presenting now as a Mandalorian, right? Like as a Mandalorian child, which is really pretty awesome, pretty awesome. And they are going off to now how to find Din Djarin, who's in bad shape, right? He's battling like this giant white snake, which is bad, which bites him. That's not great. And he sees a little Grogu. They've snuck through the sewers, and he blows it up. I love all this stuff. Little Grogu and the and his little mates
Oh
there making
yeah.
their way through the woods. And one of them got captured too. Gets eaten by the or picked up by the dog. Like you think he's
Oh
gonna get like
God.
chowed down on, but he makes it. It's all right. It's okay. It's a kids
It's
movie.
a
So.
basically it's a kids movie. Um, I feel like this would have been this sort of idea where we have this helper kind of character that doesn't speak English at least, right? That kind of makes noises that you have to really look at its mannerisms and stuff. I thought that it was so cool that they chose like this Yoda character to have this because
Hmm.
you really have to you really have to depend on how that animal or thing is created and how they react to certain things. And
Hmm.
again, I don't know how they did it. Like with BB-8 or R2D2, there was some of this where R2D2 would go on a side mission and always be there to save, Luke at the end, or
Hmm.
BB-8 was like I'll travel, across a desert and I'll figure things out. And that's always kind of cool, but nothing in this in depth where he has arms. He can, you know what I mean? Like he can carry
Right.
stuff. He's moving stuff around. I don't know. I just really loved kind of the I don't want to say character development, but like watching Grogu like come into his own.
Hmm.
And oh, I love that. There he is with his little friends that are like his size. It's so great. I do love too. They're real honest about the ship that they go in. It's like a Mandalorian's not fitting in this. This is what were we thinking? Should have. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking. He just wanted to save his dad, but
A little. Well, we saw Grogu try to turn on the Razor Crest earlier. Couldn't do it. Couldn't
yeah,
do it.
couldn't figure
Which
that
which
out.
is another learning moment we're gonna get to. So yeah, Mando gets gashed open by the snake, which is bad. It's venomous. That's not great. The snake is freaking gigantic. Which
Oh
is
yeah.
crazy. I don't know. It's like the biggest snake in the whole world. I've also got like the Amanamon's in there, which are like this like toy slash thing that were in Jabba's palace in Return of the Jedi, which are now like real, like really coming after Mando, which is pretty scary. Like they're scary looking, like coming through the water. That's no good. That's no good. But he ends up
Hmm.
getting out of there, right? Grogu like blows up the sewer grate on that thing. He ends up getting out of there. But bad news, they get to the ship, and the ship is not big enough for a person. It's big enough for four Inzellans and one little baby Grogu. Not big enough for Din Djarin. And Din is having a rough go of it, right? He's poisoned. He's stumbling about. You're like, not long for this world. I have to admit, I was watching this movie, and I got like emotionally upset for a second because I was like, is something going to happen to Mando? He's not going to live forever. Is this it? Is this where it happens? And I was like, oh my God, no. And then I remembered that no, because Grogu is amazing. Grogu can heal him up. We've seen him do that. He healed up Grief Karga in I think the first season of The Mandalorians. He's not gonna leave. All right, he's not gonna listen to his dad. He's gonna stay. He's gonna find him, and everything's gonna be fine. And it kind of is fine because he does heal him. Right, he closes up his wound. That's good. He ends up like covering him up with some sticks so these robot guys can't find him, which is good. He ends up building a little hut that looks a lot like Yoda's hut there. So that's pretty good. That's pretty funny, right? Because he uses the Force to like slide him in. It keeps like banging his head into the thing, which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
But then we meet like the wildest, most awesome character in the whole show. It's this weird little river crocodile ferret possum weasel thing. I don't know what it was. He was amazing. I still haven't seen like a credit for who did his voice. I don't. Maybe it's out here somewhere. I haven't seen it yet. Um, I want to know more about this guy because he's just like old like retired guy. Like he reminded me of my dad. Like he was like just like down there like fishing, like having a good time. This like little kid walks by and good lesson, right? A stranger, a foreigner to your land. You just give him a fish, help him out. That's all you need to
Yeah.
do.
No problem. I mean, yeah, I couldn't figure out who that was. It was cool seeing Martin Scorsese like recast, rejoin, right, his role. Um, and so I thought that maybe it was one of those that I had just missed, right? Like, so
Mm.
Martin Scorsese was Hugo Duran, who we see at the beginning. He's like shopkeeper. That's really cool. So I was thinking that maybe this was something that everybody who had watched all of the series of all the things might pick up on,
Yeah,
but apparently not.
new to me.
Which is
New
kind
to
of
me.
cool. Yeah, yeah,
He's
very cool.
awesome. I hope he's smuggled on board the ship and we get to have more adventures with him, or we just get to get to have like some like Bayou like country cooking class with him or something. I don't know. That'd be
Yeah,
amazing.
something
Uh,
that'd be cool.
but gives him some medicine, right? Totally lies to Embo. He's like, nah, I don't know what you're talking about, dude. He gives Grogu some medicine. He's like, take this to your dad. He might be too late, but give it to him. Unfortunately, bad news. Grogu is, sometimes people will go, oh, maybe this is his time, but keep him comfortable, give him this stuff, and it turns out he's going to be a-okay, which is great. They find this other ship that had transported Rhoda here to this planet in the first place, and they decide that they're going to get out of there. Well, before you get out of there, Din Djarin says to Grogu, they look at him and they say, what should we do? They're going to be chasing us forever, right? These huts, they're never going to give up until they get us, one of us, both of us. So let's go. So they arm up and they go to save Rada and to get the one up on the twins, which is exactly what they do. It's another big, huge set piece battle kind of a thing. It is like crazy. There are these huge robot guys that Din Djarin and Grogu are in. Grogu like climbs into one and is like pulling out its wires so it can't shoot straight. We've got that going on. We've got like 1,000 other droids going on that are getting taken out left, right, and center. We got Rada there. Grogu goes and saves him. Gets him going again, and he is doing battle with the other two huts. It's crazy. It's mayhem. It's Star Wars madness going on right about now because also we have X-wings that are flying in.
Yeah.
Ripley's bringing in the heat with her and like all the directors who have worked on Star Wars stuff. We've got Rick Famuyiwa, we've got Lee Isaac Chung, we've got everyone on there. I should have pulled up all their names. Where are they all at here? We've got uh, Paul Sun Hyung Lee. We've got Deborah Chow in there. Everyone is in there flying ships, and they're gonna go blow up this place. where Mando and Grogu are. They're going to get out in the nick of time. It's totally fine. But what a wild end.
Yeah. Yeah, I really loved it because once again, like the Republic, they come in late, but they will come in, right? Like you find like it's like here comes the cavalry
The
kind of
little
feeling.
Anzellans like fly back. They're like, we told you we'd come back.
Yeah, and it's so lovely. Like because your heart swells. I mean, I remember, gosh, I didn't get teary maybe, but it was really cool seeing Grogu use the Force again and try and save Rhoda. It was really cool to see how. I mean, I love an X-wing, and it would be interesting now to do like a side by side of like what X-wing flying looked like, 35 or
Mm,
45 years ago, and what it looks like
hmm.
today. Because I don't think it's that different, and that's really a testament to how amazing the first one was, in general. But I don't know. I loved it because it was just kind of this big bang moment, which you need, right? In the culmination, you want it to be really big. And I don't know. I thought after watching the first scene where, the AT-ATs, I think that's what they're called, fall off the cliff, I was like, what's going to
Mm,
top that? Because those are humongous, and I don't know how they did it.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And then they get out of there. They end up getting back um to the base there. Rada's like, I'm gonna stay. Maybe I'll like stay and help out the New Republic. That'll be good. I can be a good guy. Maybe we'll see more about his story at some point here in the next season of Ahsoka, or if there's another season of Mandalorian, whatever the heck happens. But uh Mando and Grogu, they need a break. This has been terrible, terrible time. Yeah, take a break for sure. So they do. And then you get probably the most like monumental part of like the teaching is that Din Djarin tells Grogu uh, to fly the ship. Basically, he's like passing over the controls to him, and you'll see him, and he's like pushing the little thing, and it's just a little like gear shift ball that he kept stealing. In the first go around of this
Hmm.
thing, but now he's in like charge of flying that, and no longer a child, maybe to in Mando's eyes, maybe more an equal. Definitely, he's still an apprentice. He was still definitely things to see, but has seen him now prove his salt. Which brings me back to that point. Mandalorian Grogu is a terrible title. No, because that's exactly what this movie was.
Hmm. Yeah. No, I agree. So, Brian, I have some questions for you as like the more seasoned, definitely the more knowledgeable Star Wars fan between the two of us.
Hmm.
How did this measure up for you as a accompaniment kind of film? Did you see it as an accompaniment or a supportive film for the I don't know for the the
for the
nine?
other
It's not
things.
a
No,
I
I mean
don't.
it's definitely to like the saga films, to like the nine saga films. It's definitely like a supplemental thing. I've seen
Mhm.
people like comparing it to Solo, and I don't even know that it's like as supplemental as that because Han Solo is a very integral part to the nine saga films that we have, whereas Mandalorian is really just coming from this TV thing. Now, I guess eh, depending on what and where you read it, like the movie was originally going to be like the next season of the show, which they decided to make a movie, which then got reworked into like its own kind of a thing. But I have to tell you, like, I don't know, like what I was expecting necessarily. I like really tried to like keep my excitedness for this at bay for not
Mhm.
really for any reason. Like I didn't like anticipate that I was going to be like disappointed in it in any way. I just didn't want to get like so overhyped for it. It'd been a long time since we'd had a Star Wars movie in the thing. But I mean, I really, really liked it. I think that it served the story well. I think that it like developed these characters a lot, actually, which I'm seeing that people think that it did not, and I'm not quite understanding the grasp of that. I mean, it's if you watch the TV show of The Mandalorian, like this is it's more of that in a lot of ways because it's just this wild, crazy, zany adventure which could live like on the pages of a comic book because it's absolutely insane on a lot of levels. But it propels the story of these two characters forward a lot, and I think like some people probably wanted it to propel like the story of like everything forward a lot, and I don't think that
Mhm.
that was ever the intention of this film to do, right? Like it wasn't going to be like, oh, look, and we're flying by and there's, Baby Ray or, we're
Right,
we're going and
right.
it's, all these other characters or there's Ahsoka and Thrawn like coming down on their ship. Like I don't think like it ever like set out to do that. I think it just set out to be like a really fun adventure. And it reminded me a lot, like growing up when we did in like the 80s and 90s, and we had a lot of like sitcoms and like TV shows, and it was always like hypothesized that like some of like the bigger ones, like that there would be like a Seinfeld movie, and then like The Simpsons eventually did go on to have it, and all you ever really wanted it to be was just like an extra big, extra good, extra long episode of that show, right? Like the Simpsons
Hmm.
movie is amazing because it's just like a 90-minute Simpsons episode, right?
Right.
It's just a
Right.
really good episode of The Simpsons. And that's what this was to me. Like it's just like an amazingly fun time. Like I loved it.
Yeah.
I had so much fun with it. And a lot of people will be like, well, Star Wars should be more serious and push all these things forward and blah blah blah. Most of us fell in love with Star Wars when we were like, I don't know, like 8 years old, right? George Lucas
Hmm.
famously said that Star Wars is for 12-year-olds. So there you go. So while I mean like stuff like Andor and uh, Rogue One and stuff like that is great, and that like appeases like the adult like 44-year-old brain that I have.
Hmm.
Like watching this is like that. This is exactly what like watching Return of the Jedi was like when I was like 7 years old, because it's insane, and there's Ewoks, and there's a pit, a hole in the ground that you fall in that's like a real life thing. Like it's so like bananas and off the wall, and I absolutely loved it. Now let me throw that back on you because I was very interested to get your take, because I obviously am the huge Star Wars fan between the two of us. You like Star Wars, you enjoy Star Wars, but not we're not on the same Star Wars level.
We're,
I will say, I
no.
think I could say that, pretty safely. What did you think about this? Because this movie is freaking wild. Like, were you
It,
like, this is too wild, or were you just like, this is fun and this is a fun movie?
I loved it. I think that, there's a lot of Star Wars fans that don't seem to like any Star Wars movies. It's so
Mhm.
weird to me. Because Star Wars fans are just kind of a strange group, because there's always a movie that'll come out, with Han Solo, it was the same thing, even with Rogue One, which I thought was fantastic,
Mhm.
as a supportive, supplementive kind of movie to go with the universe. People were pissed, mad for some reason, and it was like, why? This is it's just fun. Don't You're taking it way too seriously, which I think is not the point. I don't know if you know this, but George Lucas made this film thinking no one was gonna watch it. It was so badly reviewed, apparently, right?
Yeah.
That they thought this was just gonna be like the end. He thought his career was over
Yeah.
before it even began, really.
They
So
left the continental US because he's like, I need to be out
he's
of
like,
town when this
I
happens.
I can't even be in the same country. I
Yeah.
need to leave. Right. So, I mean, he couldn't have been taking it so serious then. Like he was being playful. Like this idea is very fantastical. Um, I loved it. I thought it was great again that they continued the world. I actually really liked that we weren't talking about Luke and Leia and oh my gosh, Ray and all of that. Like
Yeah.
I'm kind of, as a general audience member, I wouldn't mind going back to that story, but it was so nice to see something else. Um,
Right.
that, and we haven't had a lot of father-son stuff, right? I mean, I don't know if you know, but Luke and his dad had a lot of issues in the first like six films. So like, um, the only thing that came close was Ben and Han, right? And that lasted for 45 seconds in a
Right.
movie and
Yeah.
then ripped our hearts out. Like this is a really fun, like father-son kind of bonding story.
Hmm.
I don't know. I really liked it. I think that if then you need to maybe adjust your expectations. It did exactly what I was hoping it would do. It would tell me a little bit more about Grogu and where he is on his journey, like through the Force,
Hmm.
how he and Mandalorian are getting along, like how he's matured because he's not a baby, like he's
Right.
and and I don't know if you remember this, but like every parent has this moment of dread where they're like, remember the buttons that I told you never to push? Well, this is the moment. I need you to push the buttons. And poor Grogu's like, I don't know which buttons because I'm not supposed to touch any of them. So he doesn't know. And you're like
He
thinking
he
about
knew
this in your
he
head.
went straight for the Rockets.
Yeah, he's
My
like,
my kind of my
those
kind
are
of
the
dude right there.
ones, you
Yeah.
know?
So that's good. I'm glad to hear that because like I said, like this movie is like wild. Like it's so like bonkers out
Yeah.
there. So I can see like if you didn't really like Star Wars, you could be like, I don't know what I'm watching. This is like too much. It's like sensory overload or something. I don't know. But I'm glad to hear that. Over on our social media, I asked everyone just kind of generally what their favorite Star Wars movie was. I thought that that could be a little fun thing to talk about. So we got some feedback here, Michaela. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna run through these that we got. So Matt Johnson, friend of the pod, says pretty much anything with Jar Jar. And to that, I say good news, Matt, because we have a lot of Jar Jar in Star Wars. Episode 1, Episode 2, Episode 3. Jar Jar features in the Clone Wars. Of course, he was an important character to Padme Amidala, so he gets featured in E.K. Johnson's The Queen's Peril trilogy, right? Jar Jar has his own one-shot comic. He featured in Vader's Castle, and he also had a nice little storyline in the Aftermath book, Empire's End, I believe, is the one right there. So pretty much anything with Jar Jar, Matt, you're welcome. There you go. So, what next? We have Anthony Wood who says, "Return of the Jedi can't beat a Moody Luke." There's Moody Luke right there. Return of the Jedi. Michaela, let's pause there. What's your favorite Star Wars movie? I think I know. I think I know the answer.
You okay? Do you want to guess?
I think that it's Rogue One, but
It
I'm not
is.
sure.
It is
It
Rogue
is. It
One.
is.
I
Okay. Okay.
absolutely love Rogue One, which is I know
No
it's
Moody
not part
Luke.
of the
No Moody
nine.
Luke in that one.
No, there's
That's fine.
no Andor's moody. I love it.
Andor is
I,
moody. That's true.
he's oh
The whole
yeah.
movie is moody. We'll
He's
raise you one
yeah.
moody Luke for
Yeah,
everyone being
absolutely.
moody in that
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
There you go. All right, Max Wood from Galaxy of Film over there says Empire Strikes Back is tied with Revenge of the Sith as my favorites, and there you go. Max Wood is going with the sadder
Mm, mm,
entries here
okay.
in Star Wars. So that's okay. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. Chris Sorrentino, friend of the pod, says Empire will always be my favorite, but I really enjoyed Mando and Grogu last night. I've said Mando and Grogu too many times. It's breaking my brain right now. And to that, I salute you, sir.
That's so cute. Oh my gosh.
Jeff, another friend of the pod, shares your opinion. Are you want to read that one, Michaela?
Um, if I
Can you
actually
read
I
it? Can you read
can't.
it?
I cannot. I
You
cannot.
can.
I need my
It's too
glasses.
small. Michaela said, Jeff Escamilla, is that right? Is that
Escamilla. Yep.
Escamilla. Jeff Escamilla says, I found myself really liking Rogue One. It captured the look and feel of the originals while still managing to be updated. It had a unique story that doesn't provide the typical happy ending, and then a perfect segue into A New Hope. And yeah, it does. It does perfectly segue into the New Hope, right? Just same like shot for shot, basically, almost right
Yep.
there. So yeah, that's true. Definitely not a happy ending, as we just said. Moody everyone. Moody Jyn Erso right there. Moody Cassian Andor right there. Everyone Moody. So yeah, you and Jeff, a lot of like there, I guess, in your feelings about Star Wars. The Force Healer says A New Hope, and that is good. The Force Healer also says that Qui-Gon Jinn is her favorite character. So A New Hope, that's probably my pick as well. I don't really like to rank my Star Wars picks, but A New Hope is my favorite of the Star Wars films.
Nice.
Force Time Pod says The Last Jedi. Shocker, I know. If you listen to Force Time Pod, Travis is going to mention Last Jedi on every episode of his podcast. And none of the episodes of his podcast are going to be about The Last Jedi, but he will mention it on every podcast. Even has a little alarm that goes off. Uh, Force Time Pod Travis also says that Luke Skywalker is his favorite character, and yeah, got a lot of good Luke action there in The Last Jedi. And we have Ashley Film says The Force Awakens controversial, I know. And to that, I say no controversy here because The Force Awakens is awesome.
It is awesome. It is awesome. And I think that's really like in closing thoughts for me. I'm gonna let you take the runway on this, but in closing thoughts for me, I think that that's one of the things that makes this film really great is that there's something in it for everybody. Like everybody's gonna have their own favorite. Everybody's gonna have their own you know, thoughts about whether a film was good or a character was good. And you're not going to please everybody as a movie studio, right? But I
Mhm.
thought that this filled in a lot of holes that I thought were missing from some of the actual core films. And as a
Right.
supplemental film, it did a lot of things that I was really hoping it would do. And people might not like that because they wanted again to carry the whole story a little bit further and add more
Mhm.
color to that whole big story arc. But I really kind of liked it that, inside there were these characters that had whole universes of things happening to them that we
Hmm.
don't ever see. And it's kind of like life that way. And I know that
Yeah.
that's very deep, I guess, but I think that that's really important to see throughout this kind of universe. And yeah, so I thought did a really great job. The set direction was amazing. I thought the acting was great. I definitely think it's worth your time, even if you're not a Star Wars person. And if you've not seen any of the films, here's another thing to know. Like, you don't need to know who all these people are to enjoy
Hmm.
it.
Right.
All you need to know is that I'm doing it now.
See, your brain. Yeah.
Mando and Grogu, are friends. Mandalorian has kind of a father figure to this young Yoda-ish character. And that's really all you need to know. And you can still truly enjoy this film because there's a lot in it that stands up on its own. And I think that that's really cool.
Yeah, I think probably the best like decision for like propelling like a story, especially like in a franchise that's this big, because Marvel comes to mind, and like you have to keep like your big important things for more of those films, those numbered ones, right?
Yeah.
Episodes 1 through 9, right? Like those are the ones that need to be big and important. And I think like if you look at something like Marvel, I think that what they did was they just kept trying to outdo Endgame to some point. Like Endgame was this big, huge, monumental thing, and they're like, well, what can we do in the next one that feels like has higher stakes than that? And you always just kind of wish that they would have told like a smaller story and just had
Yeah.
like more fun with it. Um, and I think that like this is how you do it. Like this movie was just like a hell of a good time. Like I
Yeah.
really, really liked it. I'm gonna go watch it at least one more time this week. I'm gonna go take my dad to see it. I'll probably see it another time. I might try to go see it in 40X if I can, because that would be fun now that I've actually like seen it and can just like enjoy the ride of being on the ride of the 40X.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. We were lucky to get tickets to it, kind of on that opening show, which was pretty cool. And um, yeah, I mean, I it was fun. Like I
Yeah.
don't understand. I don't understand. And like even like the negative like things that I've seen about it are like this movie was too fun, 0 stars. I'm like, what? That doesn't even make any sense. Like what does that even
What?
mean? I don't understand. I'm so confused. I'm more
Yeah.
confused than Grogu trying to start up the ship or
One of
running
these
out of
87
time.
buttons that I'm not supposed to touch that I should touch. And he
I don't
doesn't
know.
say like the white one down near he's just like, man, the manway hatch or whatever he's calling. He's like, turn the engine on. And Grogu's like, what the hell is that supposed to mean, Dad? Like, tell him like the red button that I told you to never press. Continue to not press that when it's the white button that
Don't press
starts
that
the
one.
engine.
That starts it
Like
up.
something. Anyway.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up here for The Mandalorian and Grogu. So, yeah, so let us know what you think about it. Let us know if you've made it out to see it. Let us know what your favorite Star Wars film is. If you didn't get that into us, you can tag us, send us all that information, give us your thoughts and feedback on Mandalorian and Grogu on our social medias. It's at Drink the Movies on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and Facebook.com/Drink the Movies. If you want to see pictures of the cocktail, episode recaps, links to all of our things, that can be found on our website. It's www.drinkthemovies.com. Go there, check that out. It's got links to all the things, but including there is a link to our Patreon. We're going to be doing some more Star Wars stuff. I think we're going to try to get an episode recorded here for the Ewok Battle for Endor film, which I watched on Sunday, and it was the second craziest Star Wars movie that I watched this week, which is really saying something for the Mandalorian and Grogu. So check that out over on Patreon, patreon.com/drink the movies. We'll be doing that. We've got our hangout coming up this week. It's the best way to support the podcast, and we appreciate our patrons so much. I mentioned it right after it showed, but I did put the cocktail video up just on YouTube. If you want to rewatch that, go check it out and follow us on YouTube, because A, you can watch our beautiful faces right now as we're doing this here on video. But yeah, also other fun stuff on there like that. So check that out on YouTube, or check out Spotify for the video version of the podcast. Michaela, Masters of the Universe, that's not on the schedule, I don't think, but that comes out next week. We have like a new movie like every week for the next, I don't know, like 84 weeks in a row or something like that. So we're gonna be doing a lot. We're gonna be putting in the miles. We're gonna be flexing our Regal Unlimited for sure. And we're gonna be
We
talking
are.
about all those movies here on the podcast. People are gonna want to follow along with us. Where can they do that?
You can find us on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Spotify, Good Parts, anywhere where Spotify podcasts are supported and distributed. We do 2 drops a week here at Drink the Movies. We do our lobby bar, which happens usually at the beginning of the week, where we talk about everything that's coming out in the box office and series and stuff that's hitting our video streaming services that week. And then we do our deep dives, like the one you just listened to today. If you would like, we would love it if you would drop us a line, talk to us about a movie that we've not covered that we need to cover, a cocktail or a liquor that we've not tried, that we've never shown before, that you love or that you hate and want us to try anyway. Because I guess that's a thing now. We're just so knocked out that this community continues to thrive, and that you're as listeners, you all make it happen. So thanks so much for that. And for anyone that has ever played a video game, you should go listen to Drink the Video Games, because apparently it's like the #1 podcast of video games routinely every month. Brian does a really amazing job talking about the research, but like he does a bunch of research behind behind the video games. I pop in for a cocktail. It's always really cool. Yeah, go check those out, because there's a bunch of Star Wars video games that he covers as well. More to that end. So
Yeah,
yes.
that's right. Thank you so much for that plug. Yeah, I did a whole season about Star Wars video games, kind of about the history of Star Wars video games, and then picked 4 or 5 specific ones. I also did a bunch of the LucasArts point and click adventure games, and like I said, Steve Bloom, voice of Luger Brink in The Dig. So you can go check out an episode all about that if you want some extra Steven Spielberg in your life as we get ready for his next chapter. What's that movie called? I can't even
Disclosure
like wrap
Day.
my mind around anything else after seeing The Mandalorian this week. That's too much for my brain. So, all right. Well, I think that's going to go ahead and wrap it up here for episode 270. 270. All right. Good job, us. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. Again, check out the video podcast. We're in video. I got Mando right there. It didn't fall down like last month. So that's good. That's good. Check us out, and we'll talk to y'all next time on
Drink
Drink
the
the
movie.
Movies.
The cookies are really tasty. Thank you very
The
much for getting them.
the cookies are good. The cookies are good.